questions should be pertaining to the topics today: transferring a PEB employee from PEB employer to another PEB employer with full benefits. Also, how to terminate or end subscribers' eligibility, or how to rehire and restore a subscriber to an eligible subscriber. So try to keep those questions to that. If you have any issues in benefits 2404 or 24/7, we do want to hear those. Go ahead and submit those questions. Also, any questions that are related to specific employees, we ask that you send that through HCA support. And for urgent matters, pick up the phone, contact our customer service representatives at 1-800-700-1555. So I do want to cover a couple of notes. The launch date, if you haven't received a Gov delivery or haven't heard in some source that the launch date for benefits 24/7 has been pushed back to June 12th. So we are at 30 days out before the launch date. So our developers are still working hard to try to make sure this system is ready to go for you all. Also, the transfer video went down earlier during the week. It is now back up. So if you want to take a look at that transferring employees video, that is back on the VA website. And lastly, all the members that we're showing in our training environment, benefits 24/7 training environment, these are all fictional members. These are not actual real-time members that are out there. We just want to put that as a disclaimer that all the names that we're entering into this training environment are all made up. So, okay, so subject to your questions. Again, if you have questions, just go ahead and submit those to the question feature while we get benefits 24/7 training environment up and ready to go. Hopefully everyone's had plenty of time to go into benefits 24/7, take a look at the other sessions, and have been able to execute those functions and tasks within benefits 24/7. And if we are not able to answer your question, we are taking those back to our developers to have those addressed. So know that we're not just looking at your question and saying, that's a good question. We are taking those back to make sure the system is working proficiently for you all come June 12th. Larry, correction, my name is Rob Blight. I'm a benefit marketing rep with the Healthcare Authority. I'm joined with my coworkers, Mr. Larry Cade and Miss Debbie Crumples. Hi, you two.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing
Hi,
great.
and happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. I don't see any questions in there right now. So Deb, if you want to go ahead and take over your screen.
Okay.
Share your screen with us, and I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Rob.
Sounds like everybody's has been in benefits 24/7 and not having any issues. I don't see any questions there. So that's great.
Okay.
I can see your screen.
Thank you. So based on the fact that we don't have any questions, because like Rob said, we do like to start our webinars out, allowing you to go ahead and pose some questions. So I don't see any, so I will go ahead and just demonstrate the topics today. So we're going to cover how to take an existing employee who is enrolled in PEB benefits, and we're going to terminate their coverage because they're leaving their employment. We're going to take an active employee who is going to be on a leave of absence. We're going to show you how to make them ineligible, and then we're going to rehire an employee back, and we're going to restore eligibility for an employee who was on leave. And then at the end, I will go ahead and do a transfer example. So the first one is going to be that employee who is currently working for the Department of Ecology, and we're just going to end his benefits because he's leaving employment with the Department of Ecology. So to do that, we'll just go through the Manage Subscribers tile, and we'll search for that employee. And today I'm going to be using Abraham Lincoln. I'll go ahead and click next to his name and manage him. So down here under his eligibility tab, how you terminate somebody is pretty simple. So you just go in here in this section where it says terminate or transfer the subscriber, and in the drop-down box, here's all the reasons that you could end somebody's eligibility. And in this situation, we're just going to be ending this employee's employment, and I am going to end their employment on 3/15/2023. So something really important about this date here is this needs to be the last day that they worked. So 3/15 would be this employee's last day. So 3/16, they're gone, right? So that's the termination effective date. That that is how that works, sorry. And just click on submit. And it's just asking you, is this date correct? And I'm going to go ahead and say submit again. And how you'll know, this little green thing here will tell you that this has been updated successfully. And then it's going to drop the benefit end date to March 31st, because as you all know that on 3/15, their benefits, if that's their term date, are going to carry through the end of the month in which their employment ended. So that is correct. And that's how you do that. That's just simple enough. Does anybody have any questions on like terminating someone's coverage?
So we do have one question from Norma here. Can an employee use a vacation day as the last day worked?
I would say
Yes.
yes. Yeah, I was going to say that's probably agency thing, but that just, they're still
Hi,
on the
Norma.
payroll. Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
She's saying, hi, Larry.
Larry's so popular, man. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah. Oh my. Okay. So the next example I'll do is, and just notice, I know that this webinar today is for our employer groups, and I did go ahead and create employees within a state agency. And that's only because this is the one I do most of my examples in, and it's not going to matter or be any different for you as an employer group. Okay. So I probably should have used an employer group just because of the group we're working with, but I did want to at least put that out there. Okay. So the next employee that we are going to end their eligibility, right? They're an active employee, but they're going to be going on approved leave without pay, and they are not going to be eligible for PEB benefits, right? So we're going to go ahead and manage that subscriber. And this time we're going to use George Washington. I will go ahead and click on this employee and manage them. And so what I'm going to do is under their eligibility tab, same thing, we'll come down here under this terminate transfer. That termination is kind of a harsh word because really that just means like really ending, right? Ending their eligibility. So here's a lot of the reasons why you could end someone's eligibility. And on this one, we're going to go ahead and pick up the approved leave without pay. And we're going to say this person's last day working is going to be the same thing, 03/15/2023, which means their benefits, when I go to do this, submit changes, and then submit them again, this person's benefits are going to end March the 31st, 2023. So that's how you put somebody who's still your employee, still like on your payroll or going to be, considered your employee, on ineligible, right? Due to being on that approved leave without pay. And they just kind of hang out there until they're brought back or they end up getting terminated or whatever the situation is. So are there any questions about that? Okay, so if you end up, are you answering that, Rob? The first one from Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah, Debbie's going to be covering that very soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, does
HCA send out COBRA election coverage info when we terminate someone in benefits 24/7? I'm going to say yes, that's sent out 14 days after the termination date is entered in benefits 24/7. Is that how it works on the PEB side, Larry?
You are correct, sir.
All right. That's it, Deb.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to restore these people, right? So I'm going to show you how to take an employee. The one that we did was Abraham Lincoln, right? So we ended his employment, and now let's just say he's going to be rehired. So this is not going to matter if the Department of Ecology rehires them or another PEB covered employer hires him. Okay, it's going to work exactly the same. So the first thing that I'm going to do, and this is just for me, right? Because I need a social security number. I'm going to look him up because in order to do this, I need his social, and I didn't write these down. Okay, I'm just going to copy this. Oops. Try to. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do though is, okay, so back here when we're at the dashboard and say your the BA, and you don't know that they've ever been previously covered under PEB, right? So you wouldn't have to know, you just have a newly eligible employee. So if you're the same employer or a different one, it really doesn't matter. So under the managed subscribers, you're just going to add them. They're a newly eligible employee, right? So we're going to add them as a subscriber. And then when you put their social security number in and their date of eligibility. So I'm going to say May 5th, today's date, and I'm going to say next, and I'm going to say next. So the first thing, remember when we terminated this employee, they had that termination end date for their benefits as March the 31st. But now that this employee is coming on board May the 5th, and that means their benefits are going to start June the 1st, right? So in this instance, that's a break in coverage, right? So they're not currently enrolled, and it's just telling you, hey, we found this employee. Is this the right employee? And this person can be re-enrolled, which just means they're not active. They were previously enrolled. So that's your first sign that they were previously in the system. So you're just going to claim them. And what's going to happen here is the information that comes over is going to be from an agency they worked for before. So if it's your agency, it's going to be your previous information here. If it's another agency, it's going to be their information that populates. So what really matters is that you as the BA make sure that all of this information here for your employee who's newly eligible is correct at this time. Okay, so you just want to make sure that's the employee, this is their birthday, gender identity, and then their eligibility reason is going to be newly eligible, right? Because they're a brand new employee, they had that break in coverage. Here was the date of eligibility, and here's the coverage date. The system knows it's going to be June the 1st. So no, they're not represented. Yes, this will be up to you whether it's going to be the LTD, and you will know how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just put in a number here. And then the hire date will be today, 2023. The address is going to be carried over, and I'm not going to make any changes because the employee's address would remain the same in this example. Click on the same mailing address and go ahead and click on submit. So I will go back in here and look for this employee now that I have added them to the system. We'll go ahead and manage them. And then the system knows that they are newly eligible, right? Because it recognizes that break in coverage. So now here's their 31 days for coverage effective June the 1st. They're going to get to go in there. They're going to get to add whoever they want this time, and they're going to be able to make any different plan elections that they would like within this window. So that's how you add somebody who has been terminated within this, from PEB benefits due to, terminating their employment, and they get rehired somewhere down the road as eligible for PEB benefits. Does anybody have questions on that? Okay, good, great. Okay, so moving on to the next one, just trying to make some notes here for myself. Just give me a second. Okay, so then we had George Washington, remember? So this person was on approved leave without pay. So how do you bring back somebody and give them eligibility once they return and they've had a break in coverage, right? So what you do, this is going to be your employee. So it's going to be your agency. It's not going to be a situation where it was a different person you're bringing back. They still are your employee. So again, I have to go in there and find this George Washington. I'm sorry, I didn't write these down. Got to get his social security number. And remember, he's the one that was on that approved leave without pay through, his benefits ended 3/31. Copy this. And here's the interesting thing, right? You just can't come in and change this stuff. You just can't. It won't let you. The system's not designed that way. So what you have to do is here's a couple of things I will say. You might want to recognize what the hire date is here, right? And if they had a salary, you need a salary in there. That you're going to want to update that anyway if they were gone for a long time. But you could pay attention to those things if you wanted when you're re-entering this person. So the only way to get this employee back into benefits 24/7, being newly eligible again, right? Bringing them into eligibility off of that leave is to add them again as a new subscriber. And I know that sounds weird, but it is the only way to do it. So here's where you put their social security number in again. Now we're going to say they're coming back 5/5/2023. And we'll go ahead and click next, and we'll click next. And it's saying, hey, this employee can be re-enrolled because right now they have not been, they're not eligible, right? So that's cool. Just make sure it's the right person and go ahead and claim them. So when you do that, it's going to bring your data over that was in the system. So yep, you're just going to want to check it all. The employee's name is correct, birthday, gender, all that. The eligibility reason here is going to be they're returning from leave without pay. Okay. When I do this, you're going to see something change here. Look here where it says coverage effective date 6/1, because normally when you're adding a new hire, right, it's going to be the first of the month following that date of eligibility. But based on which one of these you choose, we're going to say returning from leave without pay. That changes that coverage effective date to the first of the month in which they return to work, because you know that's how the rules work. So just these are things that you'll want to double check just to make sure it's correct. And then I'm going to say, nope, still not represented, still eligible for LTD. And then since they've been, you know, they were out, we gave them a pay increase, COLA or something. And their hire date, I saw that it was 1/1/2022. Again, you know, this is information for you if you want that to be your agency's, because what's going to happen is it sees it as a newly eligible person, right? And it's going to pick up today's date, or it just doesn't have, it may not even be in there. So this is your decision on what you want to put here. Again, this date does not drive anything. This is a benefits system that holds benefits information. And because the hire date doesn't do anything for benefits, it doesn't matter. You're probably going to be going to your own HR or payroll system to look at things like this for your employees, but just kind of an FYI. If their address changed, you can certainly change it up here. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to leave their same mailing address, and I'm going to go ahead and
Deb,
click.
before you hit submit, I just want to point out that coverage effective date, this is the only screen that you're going to see that when you're adding a new subscriber. Other than that, once you go back to the subscriber's account, you will not see that coverage effective date. So you want to make sure, like Debbie said, that date of eligibility is correct and the coverage effective date is when that you want that coverage to start before you hit the submit button. So, and if it's not, then go down to the bottom right-hand corner, hit cancel, and then reclaim the subscriber again and enter the correct date of eligibility. So you want to do all that before you hit that submit button.
Thank you, Rob. And that I really forget to bring up this cancel button, because it's nice if you do anything wrong, you don't want to submit this incorrectly, right? Because then it takes a lot more work on the backside to fix it. So you always have the opportunity before you click on that submit to cancel this and start over. But this one, I will go ahead and click on submit. And then we'll go ahead and manage this subscriber. And as you can see, it gives this employee that newly eligible wizard, because the system recognizes that there was a break in coverage. And when they come back, they're going to be able to make new elections for benefits and add any dependents at that time that they would like to that are eligible. So are there any questions on returning someone from ineligibility status that is still your employee?
I don't see any questions, Deb. Running smooth.
Okay, great. Okay, so the next one that I am going to do is going to be a transfer then. And I am going to do a transfer example again from a full benefits PEBB covered employer to another full benefits PEBB covered employer. Okay, so for our employer groups out there who are full PEBB benefits, I'm going to do this in the Department of Ecology, and it won't be any different for you. If we have any medical only, I am not demonstrating those today. That is a video that I am currently working on, because it's got a little more detail to it, because medical only, obviously, when your employees are transferring from a full benefits employer or the other way around, is a little bit more, got a little more information on that. And we didn't want to run these together. So we're going to just do the higher level right now, just so you can see how transfers work. So this time I am going to do, okay, a transfer of an employee from Department of Ecology who is going to be going to work for the Washington State Healthcare Authority. So to transfer them out, so say this is your employee who is leaving. They're transferring to another PEBB covered employer. So we're going to do we're going to go find that employee. And this time it's going to be an employee by the name of Alice Whitkey. So I will go ahead and manage this employee. And before I go through the actual steps, some things that as a BA that I think might be helpful for you to see. Now, remember, if you're the transferring out employer, you're not going to see this on the transferring in employer, right? But I just kind of want to show you how the whole thing works so you can feel confident that it's working correctly, right? So this employee, I'm going to go to their current coverage before I transfer them because I want to show you what they're enrolled in. So I'll pull up a copy of their statement of insurance. And as you can see with the Department of Ecology, the subscriber is enrolled and also has one dependent. Their medical was effective January 1, 2022, and their dental as well. They are currently enrolled in Uniform Classic and then the Uniform Dental. So that's kind of what I want to show you. And then there's no surcharges here. So just kind of keep those things in mind because once we transfer somebody, we want to make sure the same coverages go over, right? Okay. So in order to transfer them, we'll go to their eligibility tab. And you can come down here and then here in this little box, this drop down, you're just going to say they're a transfer. And then you're going to say that their transfer date is going to be, let's just put yesterday, 5/4. So that number, that date there represents this is the last day that they are your employee working, right? So we're going to click on submit changes and then the submit changes again. And then once you get this little green message that says this has been updated, that's how you'll know it has been saved. So there's no end date here, right? That's the difference. When you term somebody's eligibility, it will give you their coverage end date, but you know that when they transfer, there is no end date. It just rolls over, you know, their coverage just carries forward to the next employer because there's not going to be a break in coverage. So there is this button where you can cancel this transfer. And here's what this is for. Say you put the wrong date in, or you didn't mean to make it a transfer, you can cancel this. And just whenever you cancel it, just make sure that you save it, right? You submit it or you submit it down here, but you want to see that green message come up saying that it took that. This also will stay out there as a cancel transfer option until the other agency who's going to be transferring them in goes ahead and does that, right? So let's say you have an employee that you believe today they are transferring, but you get some information next week that says, hey, this person has decided not to go ahead and go to work there. They're going to stay here. So then you're going to cancel their transfer, right? And then you would go ahead and click on submit. And once you know that it's saved, it's gone. That makes you then your employee again, and you can still, nothing happens. Their coverage stays exactly the same as if this never got put in. So I just kind of wanted to show you that. But I'm going to go back in and say, yes, they are going to be a transfer on 5/4. Go ahead and submit that. It saved it. So I'm good. So for the transfer out organization, that is all that you need to do. So we have had questions from employers saying, well, what if we had paper enrollment forms? What do we do with any paper enrollment forms now that employees are able to make their elections electronically? Well, if you have any paper enrollment forms, then you, like in the past, you will continue to send those over to the transfer in agency or organization, just like before. But just know that as time rolls forward, a lot of these elections are going to be made electronically and there will be nothing that you can forward them. So just kind of be aware of that. Okay, so I'm now going to go pick up this employee's social security number because I am now going to change where I am a BA and I'm going to go into the healthcare authority right here. So now I've got a different hat on, right? I'm the BA for the transfer in employee. So now I'm going to go and transfer them in. So I might not know that they're a transfer, right? I might just think they're coming to work for us and they're a new employee. So I'm just going to add them as a new subscriber. So you may or may not know that they're a transfer. We'll go ahead and drop their social security number in, and I'm going to say that their date of eligibility is 5/5/2023. Go ahead, click next and next. And this is where the system says, hey, this transfer record has been found. So that'll be like your first clue if you didn't already know that this is going to be a transfer. And what would that tell you? That there should not be a wizard for newly eligible for them to make new elections, right? Because transfers don't get that opportunity. So we'll go ahead. I'm sorry, just a second.
So Larry, there is a question here about bulk pay changes for employees such as cost of living adjustments. I don't think there is anything in benefits 24/7 that you can upload into the system that changes everybody's pay, correct?
Right. Well, so I talked to Jeff about that. There's not a way to do a bulk salary changes for employees. There's not a way to do that.
Yeah, so they'll have to manually enter those individually.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thanks, you guys. Okay, so as long as this is the correct employee, in order to transfer them, you can go ahead and click on the claim button. And again, the information that comes over is going to be the information from the other transfer agency, right? So you just want to make sure that this information is all accurate for your agency. So this is the correct employee, correct birthday, gender identity, and the system already knows it's a transfer. So they're already going to populate this as a newly eligible. You told the system 5/5 was date of eligibility. So they know that coverage effective date is 6/1, and there won't be any break in coverage there. They're still not represented, still eligible for LTD. We'll say that they took this job for a significant pay increase. And we'll leave the higher, well, we'll make the higher date for this agency. So I'm going to say 5/5/2023. They didn't have an address change. So I'm going to go ahead and click on same mailing address. And then I am going to click on submit. So I will go and look this employee up again for this agency and manage this employee, because a couple of things that I want to show you. No wizard. So if there was a wizard there for newly eligible, that would be problematic. And you would know that there's a problem, and you would need to be reaching out to us to help you figure out what happened or how to correct that. But here is the current coverage tile. Under here, I wanted to pull up that statement of insurance so that you could see how a transfer works with the new employer, right? So it shows the employee and their dependent, their medical and dental still effective back to January 1, 2022, no break, still enrolled in UMP Classic and Uniform Dental, and no surcharges. So that's how you do a transfer. That's the simplest level of transfer. Does anybody have any questions on that?
So I do want to make a comment about transfers, that there are certain requirements in order to be a transfer. Again, they must be eligible at their PEB organization that they're leaving, and eligible at their new PEB organization in order to be a transfer, and less than a 1 month break in coverage in order to be a transfer. So if you're unsure whether they are eligible at the new PEB organization that they're going to, just go ahead and terminate, and the new organization can claim their account once they enter that Social Security number. And if it's less than a month, then benefits will just continue uninterrupted. And if it's over a month, then they'll be able to make new elections.
Correct. Thank you for that clarification, Rob, because we did have some people ask that at the last webinar, because you don't always know when this employee is going to be a transfer, and when you go ahead and end their eligibility on a specific date and the other employer picks them up, they will pick up something that, it can show the system that it's a transfer, and then it would just make them newly eligible in that new organization, but it would not offer the newly eligible wizard. We have tested that.
Yeah, there are a lot of employees that don't want to let their employer know that they found another job at another PEB employer or PEB program employer. So they just say, I'm leaving, I'm terminating. Next thing you know, they show up at another PEB employer, and they enter a Social Security number, and they realize you're already in the system. So you just claim the account. And again, if it's a transfer and they're eligible at both, then benefits continue uninterrupted. I do not see any questions in there. So I think everybody's feeling more comfortable with benefits 24/7. And again, we're 38 days out from the launch date. So plenty of time to still get in the system, in the training environment, tweak it, enter your fake members in there, and just get more comfortable and familiarized with the navigation of this system. It's pretty user-friendly for everyone.
Yeah, Larry, just quickly, not all of our employer groups key into Pay One, but for people who do, is this transfer process and ending term, ending eligibility and returning eligibility? Is it, is it easier in the benefits 24/7 for people, do you think?
It's similar. I mean,
Okay.
it's easy both ways.
Good.
There for pay one, you enter the end of the month instead of enter the actual date, the
Oh,
last
I
day of the
see.
job and stuff. So that's the little bit difference, but it kind of works the same.
Good. Okay, good. Good.
There is the question that Sarah has here. If there's no notification or alert that changes have been made to a subscriber's account, but the employer can pull a report, how will we know the effective date of changes in order to align with the deduction? And I believe that's in that report, Sarah, that you pull benefit election changes that are made. You can pull that report, and that should be one of the columns when the effective date of that change is. A lot of good questions.
Yeah. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to be able to give some time back to people, and that's great. So, all I'd like to say is thank you so much for continuing to review the videos and to attend the webinars. And this is the last Friday right now that we are offering webinars, and we know that there are going to be future trainings and future information coming out, and kind of stay tuned because we are doing that as well. So we're not finished. Okay, happy Friday, everybody.
All right, it's quiet. I'm trying to give them a chance, but I don't see anything. So yeah, have a great weekend, you all. Be safe out there, and we'll see you all in the next webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.